We can finally begin. Holy shit. Oops. Can finally begin the VOD review. Because the Shanghai Dragons finally completed their reverse sweep. Good lord. That was an implosion and a half from the charge. But anyway, we're gonna start with the Philly. Because why the hell not? Philly versus Seoul. Because that's where we are right now. They actually started in Lijiang Tower. Interesting. Okay, wait, let me just see if the levels are okay. The levels are actually okay. Alright, cool. God, watching VODs is kind of cool on YouTube. It's a lot easier than Twitch. Okay, so Lijiang Tower, they're beginning in Garden. Basically a mirror comp. This is just a variation of Overwatch 1's Winston Diva 6-man dive or 6-man rush. Instead of a Winston, you've got a Zarya, and what that does is that you get to have one of your DPS frontline a little bit longer. Also interesting dynamic. Soul decides to go inside the dojo. Philly Fusion are more than happy to just stay outside and control Dildo. And yes, this is actually called Dildo. Alright, let's keep going. Absolutely incredible for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. I believe he actually even picked up the player of the match at the end of that one as well. For now, we just okay, so eventually the Seoul Dynasty moved out of Dildo. Wait, let's just make sure that this stays 1080p. Okay. So they're inside Dildo, they try to go for control of it a little bit. I think they successfully deny at least Zest going inside the dojo and then flanking. So that's kind of okay. Not really, I don't really value it that much. Dojo's a lot more valuable if you have control of the point. So you already won this fight, you control the point, you put your Ana inside, or you put your Lucio inside. Just so that they're protected from, well, typically it's an EMP. None of the teams are using EMPs. There's a really good nade by both sides, I think? Or was it just... No, it was just Creative. Creative managed to go for a good nade. Gets picked off by Prophet, but Prophet gets traded by Carpe. But here's the thing, though. You trade a DPS, you're kind of okay with this. Not having a lot of heal means that Zest needs to back off, so does Fury. And this Lucio, Fixa can't quite go forward without his team, because his team needs healing. Okay, so they went in together inside dojo, they pushed out, Fixa got a kill, escapes with his life maybe? Yeah, he does. But still, like, despite that, Soul Dynasty still get the point. Mostly because they were chasing for kills and not trying to group up and trying to clear the point. I think the plan was for Philly was to just get exit frags, quote unquote, and then go back to the point. Unfortunately, they didn't really get any more. And then Prophet came back. So, yeah. Became real problematic after that one.
by 1%, 30% so far for Seoul in terms of how
so both soldiers have like tac visor. I would say that if you're Carpe, you wanna send your guy over here, or your Philly Fusion, you wanna send Carpe over here instead of like going inside this small tunnel. You're a little bit more vulnerable to dives or to a Lucio booping you off, but I think your attack visor becomes a little bit more efficient. Another method is to have Carpe wrap around all the way to the enemy side, to the soul side, and then attack visor that way. That's also possible. But yeah, this is just too tight of a corner or corridor to get an effective attack visor. Now, if you're Soul, you're gonna try and keep this open ground, and then well, you don't really have. Yeah, you're close to your grab, so maybe you're gonna let them through the choke a little bit, so that everyone on your side can fire, right? So you grab, and then you nade. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous because you're letting them on point, but there you go. Grab goes out, beat goes out. They trade. This nanovisor is not being equated by the Soul Dynasty. Instead, I think they just nano boosted their Zarya. Yeah, they did. They did. They're waiting for this to come out. All that, they just killed Vinaim. Vindaim. I don't know how to say his name. Pun not intended. But then, after all of that, that's only when Soul Dynasty Fitz goes for his tac visor, just to shoo them away. But unfortunately, they were still on point, so query as to the usefulness of it. Also, there was no way to speed anyone. How the hell did he get that kill? What? Oh, because he just came on from behind, from the dojo. Yeah. After shooing away Fitz, comes from the dojo, the anti-heal on Smurf. Was it an anti-heal? Nope. The anti-heal was on Prophet. Yeah, it's like Zest was just able to burst him from all the way behind. So we get points. Okay. Yeah, so if you were Soul, how would you play that a little bit differently? Well, first of all, you probably don't feed Vindane. Oh, yeah, it's like, dude, that's so unfortunate. Oh, no, he didn't get slept. Someone else got slept. I think it was Prophet. Then Vindane was... Yeah. He was a little bit too aggressive. He did a wall ride over here trying to push them away. At this point, I think you just let Smurf tank all the damage. Maybe even engage from this side instead of over here with Smurf. Though I can understand why you would want to position with Smurf, and that's basically just to boot people off of him. Like if there was a Reaper, which is precisely what's happening right now. There's a Reaper right in front of his face, but yeah, the name's dead. Fitz goes for attack visor because what do you call this? The sound barrier's gone, and they were advancing on point, but he didn't really have enough sightline, and Fitz was also being contested by Zest, and he respected the Reaper quite a bit, so he backed off. Yeah. Exit frags, but the overall scheme of things, completely useless. Okay, so Soul has 70%. They, yeah, they're pretty even actually, now that I look back at it now. 88%, they all use the exact same ults. Yeah, they're the only one that's a little bit different is, of course, the 76s, because, well, Fitz used his ult last. Carpe initiated with his. And Venom died the previous engagement. What the hell? Oh, they ended the stream, finally. Now we have this. It's actually a complete VOD now, without any ads, which is quite nice. Oh, that was a little bit too early. That bubble was too early. Profit was just immediately forced out. They're gonna gain a little bit more percentage here for the Philly Fusion. So Profit declares his intention to go forward with the Blossom. Immediate reaction from the rest of his team is to speed in, bubble up, everybody else goes in. No fear, unfortunately didn't work. Traded one, also woke up Fury. This is not great. Oh no. They did? Well, Carpe also got rid of Fitz. So, this is another failed push. Okay. So if you're the Soul, what are you gonna do? Well, you definitely can't go the other bridge, so you're stuck here. You're stuck engaging from here. And your only saving grace is a very big grab. I think you hard pressure Fury in hopes that he doesn't have bubble, so that when Zest TPs to your backline, you've got to sleep from Aim God. Or you've got to sleep from creative, rather, not Aim God. And then since Carpe probably doesn't have a very good sightline of the points or basically anywhere else, yeah, you're kind of okay. You're just gonna LOS on the point or around it. Yeah. So I think that's the plan for the Soul Dynasty. Just hard focus Fury, force the bubbles off of him, and be watchful of Zet's TP behind you. If you're the Fusion, you're just chilling. You're just chilling and spamming. Make sure Fury doesn't die, and make sure that your bubbles aren't expended when the Soul pushes eventually, because, well, they kind of have to. Okay, there's the Death Blossom. Fortunately, there was still a bubble and high energy Zarya right in front of him. It's okay though. They got the point. So if you're the Philly Fusion, how do you take this? You build up charge. You build up charge on Fury. It's either that or you just nano boost Carpe and then you beat to sustain the fight, or against Fitz own Tac Visor. That's it. That is it. Watch out for any aggressive TP from Zest or from Prophet. But apart from that, like, that's the basic game plan. Just W in with your Tac Visor. Or you can also go for beat. They choose to go for beat and then they Tac Visor after. Okay, I can see how that works. In fact, it's working right now. The reason why I would prefer Tac Visoring first, then beating, is because, yeah, Fitz has Tac Visor of his own. And this is what's gonna happen. Or possibly gonna happen. At the very least, you have some level of counterplay. I guess their other assumption was that Creative had Nano Boost, but Nano Boost Tac Visor into beat, into hostile beat, isn't that bad of a deal. You're gonna kill things slower, but it's not too bad. You can still win. It's not a waste of an ult. Or rather, not waste of two ults. Interesting, we're gonna see Reinhardt and we have Prophet May. So obviously, this is just a variation of goats, dare I say, but yeah, it's just a brawl. Get a good wall, rush target, focus, focus target, and then rinse repeat, right? Um, and then cycle ults. Cycle ults. That's your win condition if you're on Soul Dynasty, right? I should probably make this thinner. I don't know why it's that thick, but okay, if you're the Philly Fusion, if this is what you're running, which I highly doubt, I don't know. We'll wait. There's still 8 seconds, but I don't think creative stays on Ana. I think BAP is so much better in this composition just because it makes you even tankier. Another option is probably Brig, but then you lose your speed. So, but overall, I like the Soul Dynasty composition for this point of Lijiang Tower. It's very basic, but it works. So, Philly Fusion opts to not TP, which is interesting. And they're gonna keep this composition. So what is it? So, this is again very similar to their garden composition. You're going to you're kind of like brawl-esque, but you're slower because you need to farm for charge of your Zarya, and you also are dependent on the bubbles. Dependent on the bubbles and Carpe, Zest, pressure slash getting picks. Right? From DPS. So that's the other thing that you need to win with. And then, of course, you have your Anonades and blah, blah, blah. The obvious stuff. So yeah, you need to, if you're the Philly Fusion, your key to winning this, or against the Brawl from Soul, is endure. Just survive the initial brawl, and then hopefully you're able to trade if ever if it ever comes to that. The Soul Dynasty, you just need to finish off the fight real fast. Interesting. You don't have a Reaper, you have a Soldier instead. So what this tells me from Soul is that they want the pick-off potential, and they trust the damage burst from the damage burst from Prophet, Smurf, Vindame to win the day. And then Fitz is just going to go around and start poking from various angles, right? Maybe even up here from above. Fitz needs to be careful of Carpe, Zest, and Fixa, though. Because this is going to be mostly solo mission, and for the most part, he is hard flanking. He should be hard flanking, like that. He's in main, the rest of his team is in white. Interesting that Soul did not commit to this brawl, though. Why is that? Oh, wait. I think they didn't want to commit to the brawl because it's just too far. So Philly Fusion just wanted to position themselves over here in hopes that someone overextends. Maybe Carpe gets an easy kill, or Zest gets an easy kill on the back line from Dart. And that's why Soul Dynasty does not want to go forward. They just want to stay white, maybe even rotate main, just so that they have presence on the point and they kind of cover their flanks a little bit more. Out here, they're kind of open to everything, but at least if they have, or they enter through this, they kind of have their flanks covered. This is a very awkward flank. This is right in front of their face, and yeah, the only really good flanks are this and up above, and maybe if Carpe TP's behind them, but that's incredibly dangerous, especially if Fitz is on the flank. Yep. They slowly rotate. They bait in Fury, and the rest of them, they now have White, but you don't really care. That's a wasted wall. Unfortunate. They didn't really get anything out of that. But they're still advancing. They kind of have to, because this is the only way that they win. So what happened to Carpe and company? Okay, so Carpe got naded and died. He's half health. What the fuck? Where was he? Oh, okay. Oh, so that wasn't a wasted wall. He was actually trapped. Carpe was actually trapped by the wall. Wow. That is really unfortunate. And then Fury tried to save him, that's why he extended a little bit more. Okay. That makes sense. Then, because Carpe, the most dangerous thing on the battlefield right now, Genji is just here to get very opportunistic low picks, right? He's not really here to, like, full HP assassinate someone, unless they're just standing still, which I highly doubt. So yeah, that was very, very fortunate for the Dynasty. So okay, so you got beat in the very first fight as the Philly Fusion. You don't really have enough ults, or a lot of ults. Where do you position yourself? How do you win against this comp? Without switching, right? If you have to stay this, because this is the only thing that you practiced, how do you defeat this from the Soul Dynasty? I think number one is clearing Fitz off of his flanks, because that damage is gonna do a lot of hurt on your basically everybody, because you can force bubble on someone, right? Fitz can just hard pressure somebody on the Philly Fusion, and Fury has to bubble them. So you need to clear the flanks, first and foremost. And then, so clear flanks, basically clear Fitz. And then you need, after clearing the flanks of Fitz, you then need to build your charge for your Zarya. Right? And then you need to bait the Soul Dynasty into either staying still on the point or bait their engage, right? You need to bait the engage and survive it so that you can counterattack. Again, hopefully your Genji / Reaper get a pick on the back line. But yeah, like step one is probably clearing Fitz from the flanks, like that one over there. Fitz is now currently over here. So I wouldn't mind if the Philly Fusion just took their time and went all the way around. It's a little bit dangerous because Vindame exists and you can get booped. But Fitz being there, or at the very least, Fitz being able to shoot wherever, whenever he wants from this high ground is a problem that they need to fix right now. So one of those ways is also what Aim God is doing, which is just to shoot him. And there you go. They now have control. Fix also helps. Unfortunately, the engage already happens because they notice that, hey, they don't have Fixa with them. They have no speed. Right? Fixa's over here. He's helping, I believe, the Genji. Zest clear this high ground. And the light bulb just goes up in Smurf's head and like, hey guys, they don't have speed right now, so we can just full on engage. No fear. And that's precisely what they do. Wall up. Boom. Eventually, like, Fixa catches up. Vindame too aggressive again. Creative is also incredibly aggressive. What the fuck? How did he end up in the front lines? I guess he was trying to go for a sneaky sleep / nade. But yeah, that was... I don't think that was necessary. It's still very much winnable for Soul Dynasty, especially if Vin is here, but yeah, there's just too much damage. Too much damage. Yeah, so that was very winnable for the Soul Dynasty. It's just that they just went too ham. And also, I really think that instead of Ana, they should have Baptiste, right? Because Bap just gives you immortality field, and while yeah, you don't really have what do you call this, a nano boost, you still have your window, right? And window is highly valuable because you have increased healing, and then you also have your immortality field. Plus, you have an AoE heal that makes your engage even tankier, and you can kind of brawl as Bap. At least a little bit better than Ana. But yeah, anyway. It's probably something that Creative is a lot more comfortable with, so you gotta respect it. Another problem here was Prophet was not able to build up his Blizzard. Blizzard would have been so good, despite being down on those numbers.
This is like 4 kills with Zest, including 2 on the Vindame here as well. I'm not too sure where
Anyway,
Vindame was. Maybe like
so how do you retake? You retake by capitalizing on the fact that Aim God is dead because Fitz is a god on the flank. Now you need to run away, Fitz. You need to actually run away. You need to respect the Carpe Reaper, even though you've killed him many times before. No need to play more risky. You're currently winning. Typically, you go for high risk, high reward plays when you're losing, and you're definitely not losing right now. Interesting. So Smurf positions himself in white. I guess this is, yeah, you're going for a flanking Blizzard, but why not just go directly in front of him? Right? You kind of know that they're all there. And they have much less room to escape. Well, they only have that way. Right? If you're the Philly Fusion, you're gonna go there if there's a Blizzard, but this is so much a better wall to do, though. It's over here or over here. So why not just engage like that? Just go forward. No need for flanks, no need for fancy stuff. Let Fitz go for the flank. And then just W. Just W. But instead, they go for the flank. There we go. I guess the target was the Ana, but it's just so slow. It just took them forever to do this. And that's my bigger problem about it. If you're gonna play Brawl, you need to be more explosive. Smurf gets 3, but I mean, at the very end of the day, your team is still dead.
Because Vindame's been dead so often in this particular sub, he doesn't have the sound area yet, so can't really
there you go.
Job of protecting themselves. Yes, again, opens up the back line.
God, this is so annoying to deal with.
Despite Fusion vacating the point, they come in really powerful there.
Okay, we're gaming.
Once again paying up.
We're gaming if you're Fitz. This might be a problem, but there is a beat, so you're Gucci. Oh no. That's rough. Fury still had a bubble for that. I guess this is another reason why you want creative on Ana, just so that you can sleep dart bleeding Genji. But then, again, if you're going for a brawl, which there no longer are, Fitz is still on Soldier because they kind of value the ability of Fitz to go on a flank and either get a pick, full-on pick, or just harass someone enough so that Fury wastes a bubble on them. But no more Ryan, now Zarya. You need to check your corners if you're up against a Reaper. Fortunately, did not check it. Don't really blame him too much. Goes for the Death Blossom just to seal the deal.
for 2 kills. The supports fall down. And now, at 92%,
Yeah, they're so
the Fusion are looking to knock down the
they're so
Dynasty here.
behind on
Trying
ults
to
right now for the Soul
down.
Dynasty.
The final fight is Smurf is
They're also
desperately
running
gonna
out
be
of
swapping
time.
Fist. Someone's got to get the touch. Looks like Prophet just at the last second
Good
will
touch.
manage to make it happen.
I mean, all you have to do is, okay, you don't really even need to do anything more.
Will just tick up to 100%.
Just need to survive,
As the Fusion will
especially if
extend
it's just a
one
Doomfist
final
versus
round.
Arya.
We're not going to be... Seemed like the fight was not going to go their way. Plenty more to play through from the Fusion side of things, but...
I would like to see a Reinhardt composition on this map, just because it's still good, and it forces the enemy team to maybe go for something like a Pharah or an Echo. So now they TP. What? So why do they TP here but not on the previous map, even though they have the exact same comp, right? Soul Dynasty did it. So why then Fusion? This is weird.
He does that 2 fights in a row with Zest. Solo takes down both the supports of the Soul Dynasty, and that just gives Fusion so much snowball on that particular map. And
also, interesting choices for TPs, right? Soul goes for the high ground TP. What do you call this? Fusion go for the low ground TP. And I guess the value of this is that Philly can go directly to the point by rotating like that, whereas Soul Dynasty will take control of Courtyard, but they have to fight their way to the point across 2 chokes. So this is good if you're trying to control this, like, health pack over here, the health pack area. But eventually they just meet up. Okay. Complete mirror comps this time. Alright, this is weird. But I guess they're just more confident in those TP spots. They didn't even control... But then again, they didn't really need to control Mega. They just needed to control Courtyard because the fight was on Courtyard. Smurf needs some help. Carpe just gets a casual spam. Spam kill. Oh no. Oh no, that's why you don't really want to position yourselves over there. Yeah. It's not that open. Like, this is so much better. Because at the very least you don't get booped off the point. Or you don't get booped off the map. Right. And now this is very much winnable for the Soul Dynasty, just because they don't have any healers anymore for the side of the Philly Fusion. And in fact they did. They turned it around thanks to Vindame. Man even has 88% ult charge. Oh, Prophet needs help. Alright. Gets the help. Also interesting, right? This is an interesting little dynamic. I guess the idea was to bait someone onto the point with the Genji, and then you kind of hide slash... what do you call this? You kind of hide your Lucio so that you can get a boop. Cheeky little boop. Another reason is that maybe there's just one person guarding the point for the Soul Dynasty, and having a Genji and a Lucio go for a hard flank might get a pick off and then the point. So it's an interesting tactic. It's already been shown by, I forget which team it was. I think it was the Philly Fusion that did this initially on King's Row, but instead of Lucio, they had a Brig. But then Lucio is a little bit more favorable here, just because, well, number one, your comp is that. Number two, you get easier picks with the boop, right? Easier environmental kills. And you chose the Genji just because he can climb back up instead of the Reaper. The Reaper cannot climb back up. And I don't trust them to just TP. Oh no. Carpe just went too ham. Yeah, the problem with doing what Fixa and Zest did was your team is kind of basically alone. They're fighting a 3v5. So if they notice that, yeah, they might just advance, take 3v5. Easy peasy.
We do that plus the visor, that's going to be enough for a fight win. Now, Fusion have more ultimates, they can and should win this fight, but Soul are playing for the long game. If Soul can drag this one out to 99%,
Smurf goes to hide for a Graviton Surge. Okay, this is worth. This is absolutely worth. Even if it's just the one. All Smurf needs to do now is survive. There's also a Death Blossom for him. Goddamn. Okay. So Philly Fusion tried to go for their cheeky little strat of off-angling with a main support plus what do you call this? A DPS, a highly mobile DPS. Didn't work. Got hard punished for it. And to my knowledge, they got 3-0'd in this one. So I wonder what happened on the rest of their maps.
Smurf being your only tank here has to be Mr. Flexible. Saw him on, I know a couple of them.
But I think the difference between Philly Fusion and Soul, at least on Zarya comps, with Soldier Reaper, is that, yeah, they just stick together a little bit more. Fitz goes on a flank, but remains in LOS, knows, like, the moment that anyone looks at him, he just runs away. Just runs away. While Carpe just goes for the kills. Goes for the kills and main lines with the rest of his team. Which means that you get more spam, but you're also in danger of just getting picked off yourself, because the Zarya's not gonna aim on the enemy Zarya. The enemy Zarya is gonna aim at you. So, mirror comps again. Although MN3 is on Ashe, Fitz is on Widow. The value of Ashe, I tend to value Ashe more, just because you've got Bob and the rest of your kit. You've got single shot potential as Widowmaker, but that's it. You're kind of in Overwatch 2. I can't help but think that you're building around the Widowmaker a lot more than you were in Overwatch 1. And Fitz is gonna have a miserable time because this. Oh, never mind. Zest is already dead. Now MN3 is gonna have a miserable time, as are the rest of the Philly Fusion, because they have no sight lines whatsoever. So how did this work? How did they get pushed back so hard? Well, first of all, they weren't really able to force out this Widowmaker, right? Zest was just hunting for this Widowmaker, waiting for her to do that. Didn't quite get the kill, was forced out, and then eventually picked off by Smurf of all people. And then after that, they just couldn't really get back to main. Also, their Ana is incredibly exposed. The aim god is incredibly aggressive. I guess there was some miscommunication, because aim god walked into the bubble, naded, and I guess he was also expecting Fixa to do the exact same, but unfortunately, yeah, that didn't happen. I think that was winnable. Just needed Fixa to actually get inside the bubble with you.
Technically only one fight as well.
MN3 now mirroring Fitz. I
I
like it a little bit more on defense, just because you're able to set up. But on second point, this is a little bit more problematic for Fitz. Because now, okay, never mind, it's no longer problematic because MN3 is dead, but Zest still exists. And that's why it's a little bit more problematic. Zest can appear from anywhere, especially when the cart gets to the bridge. And it's going to be very difficult for the rest of Seoul Dynasty to clear those angles.
Getting in the groove of things, gets a nice headshot there and a profit.
Good read as well to sort of maybe.
So this is another interesting thing, right? MN3 and Zest are both hunting down Fitz on Widowmaker. I guess also they're trying to look for Prophet, but Prophet is dead.
Was going to go for a flanking play, or
but yeah, they're trying to double team on the Fitz Widowmaker.
Again, I mean, they could be in final fight territory for B.
And Zest is just looking for this Widow. Fortunately has sights. Everybody on Philly backs off. Philly, or rather Seoul, uses this opportunity to go in. Nice sleep dart. Smurf just went in too far. And there was enough damage to just burst him down despite... Before he could pop his ult. Okay, so you've stabilized as Philly Fusion. I still prefer them being on Widowmaker because again, you kind of know where you kind of have your flanks covered a little bit better when you're defending than when you're attacking. Okay. Fitz has been spotted. Yep, you're as best you don't really care too much about. Actually, no. Actually, you're going about this wrong in my opinion. Because while yes, you can hunt down Fitz as Tracer, I think the better plan is, especially if Prophet is pushing payload, to contest Prophet. And then MN3 just has to duel Fitz and win.
Really risky to swing that corner, and he's going to be grateful that was not a headshot. Took him down to 17 HP. The recall now going to be forced. Cart currently sat just in front of point B, but Timing is still very healthy for the side of the Dynasty.
You need to have MN3 just duel Prophet. Tracers need to duel on point, or on the objective, while the Widows duel each other. And then the Winstons try to kill the support line of the other team before theirs goes down. Yeah, that's basically the plan. In a nutshell. See that? That was so much better. Like, it took forever for Smurf to get that kill on Fixa, and it's only because the Widowmaker helped him. Goddamn, no fear from Smurf. Full trust on Creative to keep him up despite the HP. But yeah, just... What happened to the Philly defense? Oh, they got booped around by Smurf, okay. MN3 couldn't really walk. So with MN3 gone and Zest having to contest point, okay, so yeah, Fitz is now more free. Oh no, why did you wake him up? Good thing that Fitz actually double headshot this kid. Else that would have been very awkward if Belos Rhea just woke up, killed your Ana, killed your Widow,
minutes and 35
and you have no
seconds
health as
remaining to try
Winston.
to finish the map.
That was some of the best critical health management that we've seen so far as well, because you have Smurf dancing in the bubble to perfection,
Okay.
support still keeping him up.
So Philly Fusion, you still have a Widowmaker at this point? Why? Well, I guess Fitz has not yet switched, but I think you can get away with an Ashe now. You're also more difficult to dive. Zest on Genji is okay because you have this verticality over here and over here. So you can pressure the Tracer a little bit more without really having to be a Tracer yourself. You also have less flanks as Tracer here. So I can kind of understand it. But yeah, I think you either swap to Soldier instead, so you're 76, or you're an Ashe. Because spamming as Ashe is pretty good still, especially if you're able to wipe off the enemy team from the point, so you can stand over here, and just keep lobbing nades to choke. Even this part is a fairly good area to lob a dynamite and get major value.
Supports, by the way, of the Philadelphia Fusion, so both Fixer and God have nothing to do except to look at Smurf.
But yeah, I mean, I can still see Widowmaker being valuable, especially if Fitz just gets that kill on the Ana. But yeah, there's just less angles, and you're a lot closer to the enemy team. So, question as to... Well, it also depends, I guess, how hard the enemy team can pressure Fitz, right? If they can't pressure Fitz to stop shooting or get ridiculous angles, then you're kind of fucked. Oh no, he got the primal off this time.
Oh no, it has backfired. Creative. Instead, he thought he laid the trap, but he fell right into it as it got sprung.
Okay. Trying to get rid of the brig. Okay, he has help. Never mind. I was about to say, it's like, dude, this is impossible. Nah, Zest is there. It's now very possible. You have the damage burst.
Well, they certainly will.
Enough damage burst.
You know, I think playing the best of the moment is something I
Oh
would
no, why you run that far, baby? Oh no. Oh no, Zest. Well, they did trade profit though, so you're kinda still okay. Yeah, the Soul Dynasty have to go up top, right? Because they need to clear this high ground so that their Widowmaker has a little bit more play space. But the disadvantage right now is that Prophet is dead or just respawning, so there's no one pushing payload. So this is still a W, a very minor W, but still a W nonetheless for the Philly Fusion.
We're not going to commit anything, but we are going to get maximum payload push now, and we have ult advantage for what could be the final fight. That's the kind of
so now the game plan changes. Soul Dynasty just pressures MN3 anytime they can with a Winston instead of going for the supports. Now here's the problem. They try to go for the chase on kills, but right now Prophet is just free pushing. I guess this is the disadvantage of the Genji, in that you can't really as freely go to the point and just contest. At least not as much as Tracer, but again, you don't really have too many choices for flanks as Tracer here. Your only advantage is the fact that you can push payload a lot better than most other people, and then finish off someone or anybody on a 1v1, theoretically, if they try to contest the payload.
Kind of build up their own ult bank again. Soul have been ahead on ults for a wee while now on C, probably for the majority of C, I would actually say. With 1 minute left to go though, Soul are
But yeah, Zest needs to be watching this a little bit more. It can't be Fixa, because Fixa needs to stay with Aim God. Can't be MN3 for obvious reasons. It has to be Zest. But the game plan for Zest is still to take out the backline before they take out yours, But yeah, it's not. They're getting pressured hard in 2 places. Actually, in 3 places if you include Fitz. One on the payload, one on the whatever angle Fitz is going for, and the last one is wherever your Smurf wants to jump you. So yeah, I think you just needed to either change your comp a little bit, get a tracer of your own, or just have Zest contest the point a little bit more, rather than go for kills. Allow Belosrea and your supports to zone out the enemy team, and then maybe help pressure out the tracer on the point. And then Fitz, well, it's a Widow duel. You got a Widowmaker to duel their Widowmaker. That's the only reason why MN3 would stay Widow. So, yeah, MN3 needed to do his goddamn job and kill Fitz. Despite Smurf being in his face 24/7.
Shoving out the only major comeback tool that the Fusion were going to have in terms of Zeth popping off again.
Still need to outduel this Widow.
Doing Zest things, but if he's not in the fight,
so, switching sides, exact same compositions, except MN3 is on Widowmaker himself. I, again, don't mind it, because it worked for the Soul Dynasty, but I don't like Genji's pushing payload. But that's something that you might have to do because, well, you can put Fixa on the point, right? You can definitely do that, but it makes Aimgon vulnerable. It makes Fixa himself vulnerable, especially if there's a nade. So I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think I prefer if they got a tracer of their own for the Philly.
Sends one off there into the name shield, and looks like he...
Prophet is basically just going to look for this Widowmaker. He doesn't have to contest point that much. Smurf can just do that, because there's no one else that's gonna be doing it. Needs to be careful though, he's getting pressured. Oh, the butt jump. Almost no one does that in T3. Even in T2, I would say. But butt jump, kinda important habit to get, or to have. Especially if you're going up against a Widow, as Winston. They're not really able to pressure MN3 out. They are able to kill Zest though, so maybe they're going to be a little bit more confident in handling this. Prophet is now free to try and go for this, but MN3 was ready for it. He was very ready for it. Then again, where else would you go as Tracer to contest this Widowmaker? Nowhere else. It's actually very important as Tracer to get that pick very early, or to get in position very early, as you just get headshot by a Widow.
Here's that first nano available. Aimgon can just pull the trigger now, honestly, just a dry one to Zest will even do.
Yeah, they're getting snowballed right now for Soul Dynasty. They managed to be corralled into a corner. Fitz couldn't really get a good angle before his team died. Yeah, I think if there's a time to mirror Widow, this is the time. Especially on first point. God damn, the butt jump or the butt engage is just hardwired into Smurf. Just tells you how good of a player he is.
Smurf trying to stop Zest from getting access to that flank high ground. Can't really manage to do it. Has to join in with the rest of the squad as Belosrea just jumping up, saying hello for just a moment.
Ooh, that was a good snipe.
Dangerously low, pops the primal, the sleep goes out.
Didn't butt jump that time though.
It's a nice little double play there from the side of the Soul Dynasty, getting that elimination.
Good lord, Belosrea just got shredded.
Finishes off Belosrea as well.
It's back at the drawing board for the Philly Fusion. I think you take advantage of Fixa's almost rally to just try to go to the high ground. right now. So if you're Philly Fusion, you try to rotate like this. And then, well, not completely in there. So go to the high ground and then go into the church. And then, I guess, Aim God will have to push payload. But, no, not really, no. Because Smurf is already here. He's just gonna, and Prophet's already waiting for him. Yeah, I think you just abandon payload, go here. This would have been so much better with a Tracer, I swear. But yeah, they don't want to have a Tracer, so it's looking like you have to rotate as a team, as Philly Fusion, up into church, and then clear this high ground, then drop to the point, push it. All because you have Rally. I don't see Rally being useful in this situation, or in this scenario, because everybody's up top right now. And then if you pop Rally, the Winston just jumps out, and Soul Dynasty are just laughing at your face because you wasted an ult.
Nearly has that pulse bomb. He's doing a hell of a lot of damage, but will fall moments before he can get the ult online. Well, the contention comes in for the high ground. Belisria and Zest both poking.
Okay, he's getting picks. M3 is getting picks. Fitz is not yet able to pressure anybody that hard.
Of the Fusion. See how far they can take it. For now, the cart going to be contested in the underpass, but it starts moving yet again.
I mean, this is going to have to come down to the final because they're still waiting for creative. Good.
Nice stick. Holy moly.
Massive little dive in from him. Blade now going to be pulled, but Zest is instantly taken low.
Zest does not have any health because their Ana just died. Also, there's no brig with him. Yeah, that's a problem. You kind of want to have your brig with you, at least with this comp, if you're going for that. Because, like, dude, they're not just gonna watch you blade, they need to go forward. That means Fixa needs to play aggressive with you. But they're not on the exact same level. Literally. Zest was high ground, Fixa was on low ground. Yeah, they need to get this high ground first. Okay, this is the method for getting the high ground. For sure. Got it. What do you call this? Winston and a Genju pressuring. That's a very strange angle, but then again, they identified that, what do you call this? M3 was there. So, it's fairly even fight if you're 76 against a Widowmaker. That's why he goes for that flank. They got rid of Widow. A lot of people died on Soul Dynasty though. Still able to survive. No one woke up the monkey. That's big. They can kind of contest this for a little bit, the Philly Fusion, but Belisria needs to leave soon. Else he just feeds.
I mean, they saw the Visor playthrough as well. Smurf has been playing out of his mind, by the way. I mean, we talk about him limit testing, but really...
Prophet. Oh no. Why is Aim God almost always alone? Where the hell is his brig? What? Not that brig would have made that so much more difficult. Well, I guess maybe it did, because if Fixa is paying attention, he can just boop away the Tracer. Or maybe force the stick on his shield, then walk away. But yeah, it's weird that Aim God is rotating mostly alone. This makes it easy for Prophet to just look for this Ana and just kill him. Okay, now they're sticking together a little bit more. Yeah, Prophet is just biding his time. Also recognizes if they're there, then that means the Widowmaker is probably alone-ish. Goes for this. Good Nano Blade for anybody on the Dynasty to manage to get anything. Any value. I guess that worked just because Prophet couldn't assassinate M3, and nor could he get a pick on the Ana. on Aim God, and Aim God and Fixa managed to get into a really good position where they couldn't really be dove, and they're within line of sight of the rest of their team. So the rest of their team were free to do whatever they want. They could dive wherever they want, and the Seoul Dynasty could do nothing. That's why they won that fight.
Is the biggest force that actually shuts them down. Bellaria also shuts down the visor as well, so Fusion, they spread in terms of knowing where their priority targets were. Fitz can't do anything with visor because Bellaria is in his face with a
I still find it interesting that they stay with this, the Gengu. I guess for this point it's not that bad anymore. That's Cassidy. What? Then again, your range is not that useful, right? As Widow? And you're also... Wait, what does Cassidy do? What does Cassidy contribute for your team? I think, apart from the nade, the sticky bomb, more like the homing missile. I guess you can one-shot tracers occasionally, and you can force their, what do you call this? You can force their recall. You stay point with your Ana and your Rig, and it's a little bit harder to punish that because all of those people are so tanky, except well, I guess Ana. But yeah, you're fairly tanky DPS, and I suppose you do have an ability that makes tracers want to TP out. Interesting hold, by the way, from the Philly. Not a Philly Fusion, the Seoul Dynasty. It's very rare that you see teams actually go for this, because typically you'd be line of sight, away from the line of sight of your healers, but their supports are over here. Like, what the hell? This is very different. And I guess it's because they want to secure the high ground, because the only way that you can secure high ground for the Philly Fusion is to basically take these stairs and then go up. I guess that's the philosophy behind Seoul Dynasty's positioning right now. They're also trying to burn as much time as possible. So I guess that's another factor. Oh man. Dude, this is so painful that they don't have a tracer that just pushes the payload right now, dude. Come on. They're just waiting for a picks, but this is so difficult to dive. Do you see this shit? There's a roof over their heads. And then Smurf is just blocking main. Yeah, this is annoying as fuck. And I guess props as well to the Seoul Dynasty for recognizing, hey, they don't really have a way to pressure payload. Let's just stuff them in the small... Let's go for the most illogical place, typically, to hold, which is over here, and just prevent them from ever going to the high ground. It's really dangerous, too. But then... Typically really dangerous. But then they recognize that this team is just very reliant on getting a very good dive. Their comp is just reliant on a very good dive, of which they couldn't really get one, because they're inside a very small and close room. So probably that's something that's probably the biggest takeaway from this one, which I've never really seen anyone do in Overwatch 1. Mostly because everybody likes to take bridge. But yeah, just recognizing instantly the win condition for Philly Fusion and just capitalizing on its weakness.
But as they work their way through to this final stretch of the map, the cart will be
very smart play.
2-0 lead for the Seoul Dynasty.
Unorthodox. I like unorthodox positionings and compositions. It forces the enemy team to think, and it forces me to think of ways that you can actually counter that. So I like it. Now moving on to Midtown. There's no way that Zest actually goes for Sojourn. Not on this patch. Not on this patch. It's too hard to hit things with the railgun on this patch for Owl. In the beta, it was easier because they kind of buffed her. But I don't think those buffs are in this game yet, or in Owl's version of the game yet. So I don't think you go for a Soldier. I think you go for another Gengu, and then Carpe is just gonna Widowmaker, and then pew pew pew. Again, I'd rather have a Tracer for this one, just because you have a way to... Wow, what that nade? What the fuck? Where did that come from? What? Wow. Okay. Holy shit. Okay, so it's even more impressive when you know the situation, the current situation of Overwatch League teams, right? They can only scrim on Overwatch 2. They don't have their own little ranked or mini ranked sessions or whatever to practice that. So for creative to know that right now is insane. Meaning, it just means that he just practiced this every scrim whenever they were on this map and asked the enemy teams like, hey, did that hit you? That work? It's either that or he just knows the angles, or all of those. But anyway, back to the game. They swapped Carpe to Reaper. This is basically their Lijiang Tower 6-man rush comp. Quote-unquote rush comp. Okay. So for this one, they're using Carpe to pressure out Fitz because they know that typically a Reaper will win against a 76 in this one, especially if he has bubble. Although they kind of want a, either a Lucio, their Lucio, to pressure with Prophet, or a Genji. Genji works too. Right? That's how I think they win this point. They should win this point. There's no way that Seoul Dynasty gets back and then creates a meaningful engage, because they're really split. Smurf is somewhere in the train. Yeah, it's like, what? Okay, dude, what the fuck? I didn't even see that. Fitz just gets a kill. How does he kill Carpe? Where the fuck was Carpe? What? Was Carpe just in main? It looks like it. Yeah, Carpe was just main, and Fitz kills him, just straight up. And then Smurf wraps around from behind, kills Fixa because Aim God was distracted somewhere else. Oh my god, they actually retake it. That is so bad. That is horrible. What the hell happened?
In many ways is creative, and some of the stuff he does isn't entirely flashy, but when he gets those sleeps, his
man, that was Philly. That's Philly Fusion's fight to lose. I don't think Carpe needed to die. I don't think they were. I don't think Carpe was outplayed in any way, shape, or form. Well, God, not again. Not another stick. Oh, so this is another brilliant thing. So they kind of recognized the pattern from the first attack, right? The pattern was Carpe would TP, Fury would bubble him, Fury would also bubble himself because, charge. But that means that Aim God is no longer being bubbled. There's no more bubbles for him. And I guess more to the point, the Philly Fusion was more invested in the attack with Carpe. And thus, it's more likely for Prophet's bomb to actually stick and get a kill. That's actually really smart. That is hella smart. Oh, he couldn't escape. Spread eagle across the street in New York.
And that's not because Carpe overcommitted. He was there because, he was...
Okay, if you're the Villain Fusion, how the fuck do you get out of this mess? Well, you can't go Train, because Train just is a death trap, unless Well, actually, no, not necessarily a death trap, right? Because you can force out the monkey. You can force out Smurf. But then again, I think it's too late now. But yeah, initially you could have probably forced out Smurf.
He's in no man's land there, so he has to try and escape, but he dies anyway.
But yeah, I think you're stuck with this one path of trying to get rid of Fitz on Soldier from this high ground, try to get us around, bait the engage forward, but unfortunately just too many ults available for the Soul Dynasty for that to happen anymore.
With the visor itself. Doesn't need too much else to go with it. There's nothing that the Fusion can do. They have this blade. They don't have
Aim God couldn't. I don't think he's gotten a nano boost yet, right? I don't think Aim God has gotten a nano boost yet in the 4 minutes that has been this match. It's okay. They're a little bit more. Well, no, that's not a reason why they're more comfortable with pushing train. It's more of like they don't have time. That's why they kind of have to do this. What? Dude, what are they waiting for? I guess they're waiting for cooldowns. But Fixa just needs to not, it needs to chill. Fuck, he doesn't need to chase this Tracer at all. He just needs to boop him away. But stay with his team. God damn it. Then Fitz goes in, Prophet gets a pick. Oh no. This went on for too long. They needed to go, but they couldn't. They couldn't because I guess they ran out of cooldowns? Yeah, they didn't touch the point. Good grief. That was just a meltdown and a half. It all started with Carpe getting picked off by Fitz for no apparent reason. And then it just went downhill from there. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't think they're mentally boomed on the Philly Fusion, but if there was a time to be mentally boomed, now is the time to be mentally boomed. And this is... So how do you defend? I guess you keep the Winston. I think you go Tracer, man. You need to contest Prophet somehow. It's either that or you go Torb. I don't think Torb is actually a bad pick, especially if Prophet is just gonna try and flank every single time. And then I think you can make an argument for Fixa going for Brig, right? So if I were to change their current composition, I think you go Winston instead of Zarya. You go for Torb, unironically, just so that you can contest Prophet's Tracer. Or a Tracer yourself, because that's not too bad. And then... yeah, Soldier is fine. I think Fixa can go for Brig, because you're not really... I mean, you lose this point, you're lost, because you didn't even get a... well, you got a tick, actually. Philly got a tick. But I don't think you'll have enough time to get to the point. So it's this fight right here is basically almost always do or die. So why not just lean into that and just get a Brig? If you lose, you lose. Whatever.
It didn't come through, but if that doesn't come through, game's over.
Well,
the only advantage of Fixa being a Lucio is that you can boop away Smurf. That's it. There's no way that you D.Va. Oh my god, don't do it to him. There's no way. Oh my god, they're actually going D.Va. Holy shit. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, never mind. Holy fuck. It's like, dude, D.Va is typically picked whenever there's an echo. So, D.Va is typically picked for versus echo. Because you can, well, I'll explain. Versus Mercy. So if the enemy team has a Mercy, you also want that. And versus an Ashe. Ashe or sometimes a 76, but it's not very often. right? It's usually because there's an Ashe. And the reason why D.Va's really good against all of these is because she can eat the nade from Ashe and also the stickies from Echo. D.Va has a lot of burst. Way more burst, I would say, than even Doomfist. So D.Va can just fly towards whoever and then just burst him down, kill him. No problem. And then Echo, Mercy tend to flank really hard. Right? So they don't really have LOS of Ana. So there's not really a lot of support if someone's being focused down. They only have each other. And it's very difficult for an Echo to destroy a D.Va. Yes, she has beam, but good lord, you need to get her to fucking half health, and good luck doing that as just an Echo. So, that's the typical logic behind D.Va picks. How the... Okay. Furious asleep, he didn't get bursted, so this is still fine. Dude, Zest is getting focused down hard. He's almost dead. I don't know why Carpe just tried to go inside. Good thing he didn't. Oh, dude, this is so bad. This is a feel bad man moment because Carpe or Prophet is just running around in circles. There's no one really to punish him. Carpe is trying his best, but yeah, eventually Aim God is gonna try and hide. This is it. That's it. They go out in a whimper. Fury's still alive, high charge, but there's just not gonna be enough healing. There's no way to turn it around. Yeah, that is it. GG. So, I mean, the reason why Philly Fusion lost was because they just choked at the very first point. Oh my god, that was such an unnecessary death. And then everybody dogpiled and then just got away with it. As for their defense, I mean, they couldn't really contest him, not with the comp that they had. And then Prophet was just free. He was just free to do whatever the fuck he wanted. And wait for Aim God to go low or be dove by Smurf and then follow through. Carpe couldn't get rid of him. Zest couldn't get rid of him. In fact, Zest was getting rid of by Prophet himself. So yeah, I think Philly Fusion, good team. Dynasty, much better. And I think it's more or less a composition type of deal for the Philly Fusion. Composition, and I guess attached to that is strategy. Because, you know, your comp revolves around your strategy and vice versa. But yeah, they kind of need to change tack because teams are figuring them out, especially this one, obviously. And they're exploiting it. They're exploiting the weakness and the weaknesses of their composition. Like, there's no Tracer, then that means that we can contest point a little bit more. Diana is a little bit more vulnerable. Aim God is a lot more vulnerable than, say, an Ana that has no, an Ana that has a Tracer. Even with a Brig, especially with the way that Aim God tends to rotate and Fixa tends to rotate, they're not together. So, yeah, like, Prophet will just have a field day. So for the Philly Fusion, I think it's back to the drawing board. Improve their tactics, improve their composition. For the Soul Dynasty, they just need to play like this every single time. And I think they're going to be top seed of Asia Pacific. So tomorrow is going to be another stream day. It is past 12. I'm going to try and review other matches. I think the Shanghai Dragon versus Charge was a very interesting match. They also pulled out some very interesting compositions, so I'm looking forward to that. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and sleep. So thank you guys for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, and I'm now going to sleep.